Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Game. Let me just fix this here. Great. So, what I'm about to do here, I was just sitting down, mind my business as I usually am, and I got this information from a source. I usually do quote my sources, but in this situation, I will not be quoting my source because I like to protect. I like to protect the sources that I do get as I continue getting information, and I don't usually release my sources like that. But this was pretty disturbing. If you remember me talking to you all before about Wilder and Joshua and Fury and talking about the Wilder contract, a lot of you dismissed that Wilder contract. And I did a long, in-depth live show, talking about the consequences of skipping the Wilder fight, the consequences of not honoring that third fight, and the absolute ludicrousy of some boxing fans that think they can skip the legal system because Tyson Fury says knock it on the head. So this piece of information I'm about to tell you right here, before I've even had the moment to even start talking, I've got a dislike already there. So I'm on the right track. And just to inform those people that like to hit the dislike button, just to remind you, a dislike is equal to a like. And further information to you is that if you think by hitting the dislike button, it's going to stop me. Well, I've been here 10 years. I ain't going anywhere. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of information there. So dislike or you like, this is information I've just got about 10, 15 minutes ago. So here we go. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Let me make sure I've got my volume up and you can hear me. Okay, so again, not revealing the source to you. And again, I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this is wrong. Make your minds up. The person says, Fury did an interview on ESPN saying the AJ fight isn't happening. That he should have fought Wilder, and it's a whole big mess. Now, I haven't seen that interview. I'm not saying it is out there. It's not out there, but clearly this person, I haven't been on the ground watching much boxing recently or interviews or anything. Wilder has the whole division on pause because Fury, and I've heard it from someone myself, is literally crying like an effing pussy, refusing to fight Wilder. Again, I don't know if this is true or untrue. This is only the first part of proceedings. Wilder wants to fight, refuses to step aside. That's why the media was tossing out dollar amounts. They work for Arum and Hearn. They were trying to see if there was any interest in step aside money, which there is none. Wilder wants his get back. Plus, Arum doesn't really have the money. They've lost so much money on Fury, they low-key need the AJ fight to pay for the Wilder fight, unless Bob wants to dig in his pockets, which he never does. Think about it. Bob won't pay Sean Porter over $1 million, but he's going to pay Fury $55 million and Wilder $42 million for a third fight. And Wilder is being done nice. Fury, from what I've heard, Fury's petrified about fighting Wilder. He's actually scared to be in the same room as him, wants no part of it. He's going to retire or drop the belt. Plus, he's over 300 pounds now and he's really out of shape. Don't expect anything anytime soon. Probably 3 to 4 weeks away from any real news. And AJ sitting there looking like a lame, waiting on these two, just solidified himself as what he's been the whole time, the junior heavyweight champion. All them belts mean nothing. He's a clown. Literally waiting to get into contract with a man that's breaking a contract. I never bought the AJ Fury fight. So, what can we deduct from this? What we can deduct is that we're still waiting for AJ Fury. What we also can deduct, as I've said before, is that mainstream media are, or I call them lamestream media, for the most part, is working for promoters. I've been saying this for the longest while. It's amazing how a lot of the things I've been saying for the longest while and people have been either disliking or trying to ridicule are all coming back now. All those things that are in darkness are going to come to light. Clearly, there's a picture of Deontay Wilder sitting back like a king. And while all these people were ridiculing him and calling him crazy, I would like them to justify how crazy it is to break a contract that at the moment is causing Fury and Joshua not to be fighting. Could Fury retire? Every possibility he could do it. Could he drop the belt? He threatened he would do it before. So where is the hell is this going on? What is going on? It's quite clear. I know for a fact that people don't like truth. They like their own narratives. And this is going on long enough. I've told you already, and I keep on telling you, you can't trust mainstream media. You really can't. Because they're bought by the promoters. All these interviews you're watching for the most part, are controlled information from promoters. You can say this and you can't say that, and you can say this and you can't say that. And these things that you call exclusives, they're exclusively controlled. What to say, what not to say, what to interview, what to say in interview, what not to say in interview. I'll tell you how controlled these press conferences are. When you go to these press conferences, you've got somebody in their PR come around and telling you, you can't say this, and don't ask him that, and don't say this, and you can only got 2 minutes to say that. That is what goes on. And the people that get the access are the people they know that won't rock the boat, or they're part of the system. You have to understand this. You have to understand this. Millions of views does not equate quality. Millions of views does not equate the truth. Anyone can buy views. Anyone can buy subscribers. But when you're speaking the truth, there is a consequence that comes with it. And that can be ridicule and all the rest of it. So these are messages that are coming through here. And I'm just listening in and watching what's going on here. All I can say is this. Something is clearly not right. Something is clearly not right with this whole Joshua Fury Wilder thing. It's not right at all. But sooner or later, something's got to come out on it. Richard Farrell says this. He says, hold on. Let's bring you up. Hold on, Richard. Let me bring your comment up. What sort of mindset does a person have to hit the dislike button before they've heard anything? Unbelievable. The sort of people that watch this channel know what's going on, know what I'm about, and know what I'm about to say. Those type of people. Don't care much for them. So, you know, a dislike is still a like in my eyes, because you're taking the time to come to the channel to hit the dislike button. But as you can see on the channel, 2 dislikes, 3 dislikes, 23, 7, 28, 50, 70 likes. It tells you something, doesn't it? So people just want to hear the truth. Why don't they just come out the truth and say what the hell is going on with Wilder's contract? Why didn't somebody out and say what is going on with Wilder's contract? Why didn't somebody say the result of the arbitration? I heard that Wilder's won, and won quite handily. So all those people that call Wilder crazy, are they now willing to come back and apologize for those things? I find it crazy. But again, time will tell. Little respect for the media, the lamestream media, particularly in the UK. Don't have much time for it. And you can't trust what these promoters say. I mean, I don't know why people put such trust and bank in what they say. So the only time I know for sure a fight's going to happen is when you see the 2 guys do the weigh-in and then walk into the ring. That's about as close it is. How are you doing, champ? Hope that you're well. So this is just a short video. Dissect what you want of it. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section. Me, what I'm reading here, I'm like, there's so much crap out there. There's so much crap out there and so much paid opposition that what is there to believe? You just don't know what to believe today. But there is no reason for this person to lie. And I've heard this for a while when they said to me that Joshua Fury wasn't going to happen. Great timing, Ingram. Just finished work and getting a KFC. Fortunate for you. So I just don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I know what not to believe, which is the constant. The fight is going to happen in a couple of weeks. Oh, it's going to be signed in a couple of weeks' time, because they first got to explain to me or explain to the world what happened with the Wilder contract. Wilder's not going to step aside, so he's not going to get paid step aside money. He wants the third fight, and Fury is not honouring his contract. You know, so it's interesting. It's interesting. Let me know what you all think about this now, because a lot of you were slamming me for what I said about Wilder. It's not about being a Wilder fanboy. It's about the legal system. Legal system. And I know boxing has got no damn integrity, and boxing has got no, they're very spineless characters. So, yes, Mitchell, great to see you in the room, my brother. Good to see you in the room. Too much smoke without there being a fire, in my opinion. KFC belt. It is. You know what I mean? And then all those people kept dismissing Wilder. Do you remember what I kept saying? I kept saying, I don't care about Joshua Fury. I want to know that this Wilder situation is settled. I don't care if Fury beat him the first fight. I don't care if Fury beat him the second fight. I really don't care. What I care about is justice. I care about the fact that if there was three fights and there was a contract that was meant to be honoured, it is honoured. That's what I care about. And if it's not going to be honoured, that there is a settlement and a payment. And I want to also know, I want to get to the bottom of all this stuff about the gloves and about him being drugged. I want to get to the bottom of this. Will we get to the bottom of it? I don't know. Mike Tyson said that before he fought Evander Holyfield in the rematch, he thought that Mike Tyson thought that Evander Holyfield was on steroids. But at the end of the day, what, for 60, 70, 80 million, he was going to tell the press about that? Was he stupid? So I don't know. People read into the fact that Deontay Wilder's been talking about he's going to fight Andy Ruiz and he wants to fight. That's because somebody asked him the damn question. But obviously Fury can't knock it on the head. He's been trying to knock on the head since the second fight. And if he's so easy, if Wilder's so easy to beat and he's such a dosser and he's such a this and that, take the third fight and be done with it. Now he's backtracking and saying, according to what I've been told, that he said in the interview that he should have fought Wilder because it's a complete mess. I don't think Wilder wants a Fury rematch now. He barely mentions Fury's name in the few interviews he's done since the loss. Listen, legal. You can't mention a man's name if it's legal. Legal. That's probably why he ain't mentioning Fury's name. He doesn't have to say anything. Does he have to say anything? Does he have to mention the man's name? If you're in a legal dispute with a man, what you may say may disrupt what's going on, and you still got to talk about it. So I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe that for 1 second, that he doesn't want to fight Fury again. Nah, that's absolute crap. I don't believe that. Both Hearn and Aram said last month that any arbitration would be only financial compensation, not for the third fight. Listen, he doesn't want any... What don't you get in your head? He doesn't want financial compensation. He wants to fight Fury. That's it. Fury's weighing 320 pounds right now. Shake my head. There you go. So it's linking up to what I'm saying. If the man is weighing 320 pounds, what is that to you? Man's going into depression. It could be. Man is not going to fight. If you ain't got no fight coming up, or you know you ain't got no damn fight coming up, what are you training for? What are you training for? What are you training for? So I don't buy that, man. I don't buy that at all. What if Saunders outpoints Canelo Lemieux style then? Not happening. Behave yourself. Not happening. Come out of that stuff, man. Stop that fairy tale stuff. Just listen. The last guy he fought in America, we've got to look at form. When you talk boxing, talk about form, guide. What did Saunders do in his first defense of the WBO title against a guy that nobody knew about? He went life and death against him. Then he fought Martin Murray. Are you comparing Martin Murray to Canelo? Saunders needs to have been fighting back-to-back-to-back fights to even get anywhere close. And David Lemieux can't box. David Lemieux's not a boxer. Get it? When you're talking boxing, talk about what is. Don't talk about some fictional stuff. David Lemieux can't box. David Lemieux cannot box. And that came from his own trainer. So I don't know where you're getting Canelo. Saunders is going to box like Lemieux. That's not happening. That's not happening. Why didn't he box against the guy who's defended WBO title against? Why did he do that against Martin Murray? Why? And if you're talking about the Lemieux fight, if you notice that fight, track the history. Saunders was fighting back-to-back. He was in great shape and he's fighting back-to-back. He was fighting regularly, Saunders. So don't come with that, man. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. And you've got to understand the history of Cinco de Mayo. There is no way that Billy Joe Saunders is going to go to America and fight on a Mexican day or fight a Mexican week, right? And he's going to go ahead and beat Canelo, the superstar boxer. And if you believe that you've not got a clue about what the hell boxing's about. Boxing isn't about what is fair and what is right. It never has been. It's about what it is. That's it. I'm saying if it happened, would they give the win to Canelo? May answer your own damn question, man. Come on. Joshua Fury isn't happening anytime soon. Fury's been flip-flopping for almost a year now. When it comes to the deal being done, I know Billy Joe Saunders hasn't got a chance, so then don't talk about it. Just looking at the corruption side of it. Well, he might get knocked out before he goes 12 rounds. Fury ducking for cover, says Mr. Soko Weekend. Ah, Mr. Soko Weekender. You from Trinidad? I don't see Ingram. Last year, when Wilder was asked who he wanted to fight next, he said Dillian White and Andy Ruiz. Didn't even mention Fury's name. Do you understand the legal process? If you're in legal battle with someone, you can't really talk about them. You can't really talk about them. You can't really talk about them. Can't talk about them. So why would you mention him? And he's been asked the question. He's responded. They might give Billy Joe Saunders a decision or draw to keep Canelo on the zone with a rematch clause. Yeah, they might do that. That's a possibility. A draw, that's a possibility. But I just don't see it. Barbados, You're Bayesian. Okay. I tell you the truth, boy. Well, glad to have you anyway. Best move for Wilder is to wait until AJ Fury plays out, not happening, and fight the winner in late 2022. Lewis waited 3 years to rematch fight Oliver McCall. Lewis did not have. Lewis didn't have Al Heyman. I swear, sometimes I don't. Al Heyman. I don't think you realize how powerful Al Heyman is. I don't think you understand how powerful this man is. You don't. You just don't get it. You all don't get it. You all don't get it. Listen, it's legal. Legal. You can have your assumptions all you want, but legal paperwork is legal paperwork. And these people that are corrupt and underhanded and have no integrity and no morals are trying to, if they could swing this one, they would swing it. They thought that, oh, well, if we go in the press and we try and ridicule Wilder by ridiculing it, it doesn't work. So they tried the whole character assassination thing. That doesn't work. 2 weeks ago, Hearn said that all terms agreed. Expect an announcement. Recently said the contracts have yet to be signed because it's that election. Oh my God. Oh Lord. You got to laugh, haven't you? Or not cry. If you believe Saunders will get a decision on Canelo, let me tell you about the tooth fairy, says Richard Farrell. Yeah, tell him about it. John Fury said recently the fight is not agreed and they may move on from Joshua. There we go. There you go. This is what I'm saying. But there are people that still believe. Still believe. Oh, Lord. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. British media is full of BS. I'm telling you. I'm telling you now, it's full of BS. Just absolute BS. And it is what it is. And if you can trust Eddie Hearn in what he says, then good luck to you all. Man's been a compound liar for so long. A compound liar. I mean, this guy, when he come out and said, was Stavern had I think it was for the second Wilder fight. Or no, it's for the Povetkin fight. He come out and said he knew how much was for the bidding for that fight. He knew what the bid was. And they hadn't even started bidding. I remember him telling Carl Frampton, do you remember that famous thing where he told Carl Frampton he'll never be a world champion if he doesn't stick with them? You remember he said that to Carl Frampton? Barry and Eddie, he said, oh yeah, you'll never become a world champion. You'll never get a world title fight. And Frampton went off and got world title fights and fought Santa Cruz. And he's one of the best fighters we've got in the UK. I remember seeing Eddie look into his face and asking him, are you throwing Kell Brook under the bus? And he looked and said, I ain't throwing Kell Brook under the bus. Really? Okay. Listen, I believe John Fury more than I'll ever believe Eddie Hearn. So that's it. That's it. I am waiting. The only announcement I'm waiting to hear is that something along the lines of Joshua maybe going to China and fighting in China, and Fury going on and fighting someone like I don't know. I wonder if they try and make Tyson Fury versus Trevor Bryan. I wonder if that fight could happen, or maybe Tyson Fury. He's gonna, that WBC belt's gonna have to be defended anyway, unless Fury decides to retire or give up the belt. And Fury's given up the belt before, and Fury's retired before. So it's not out of the realms of possibility of Tyson Fury to retire. It's not out of the realms of possibility for Fury to drop the belt. He's dropped belts before. He's retired before. So those things are possibilities. The whole Fury fight is delusional except Peter, although he has misplaced faith in his son. Okay. I'll never forget your interview with Stavern when Wilder was trying to have him step aside for Ortiz. Stavern said it isn't happening regardless of circumstances. He was right. LOL. There you go. There you go. I'm still waiting to find out how Khan was thrown under the bus. Bro, you're still waiting to understand that. If I have to explain that to you, okay, let me break it down to you this way, very simply. Canelo is a middleweight. Khan is barely a welterweight. Barely a welterweight. What business did Amir Khan have going up 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo? As much business as Kell Brook had moving up 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo. It wasn't a mandatory, but it was a filler. Khan was the patsy because he had a name, he was known in America, and he could make some money off it. But that is getting thrown under the bus. That's not looking after a fighter going up 2 weight divisions. Thrown under the bus. Sorry. Stavern fought him next. There you go. The business of cash and money. That's what it is. So he got thrown under the bus. He got thrown under the bus. Khan got thrown under the bus against Canelo. And then, as somebody said, the scraps were picked up by Crawford afterwards. That's what happened. And if you don't want to understand that, that's up to you. Keep on believing what you want to believe, as you believe that anything else you want to believe. Khan and his family made the choice. Did they? Really? Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. If you want to believe that, Khan and his family were forced into that decision to make that choice, because it goes like this. There's not many fights on the table with you. You're gonna have to take this fight. You're gonna have to take this fight. This is a good fight. You'll make money. This is what you have to do. Do you know the amount of fighters that I know have been told directly, you have to take this fight? And it's spun out in the British media as daring to be great. Nonsense. Fury and Breland could sue Wilder for slander. Fury's interview with Gareth Davis was very revealing. He cannot stand Wilder after all the nonsense he came out with. Well, if they could sue, yeah, they would be counter-suing Deontay Wilder. Now, they would have to be careful to sue, because if they're suing, they've got to be damn sure of two things. One thing they need to be sure of, Fury's already in breach of contract. So if he's counter-suing, then he better be sure that when he's counter-suing, that there's no evidence, any adverse evidence against him. Because if there's adverse evidence against him, not only that he's having to deal with this situation at the moment legally, it could open up the doors for something else as well. Don't think it's advisable. We can all talk all we want. If Breland really wanted to sue Wilder and himself, he can go ahead and do it. He can go ahead and do it. I'll see how far that goes. I don't give a damn about interviews done from the majority of British media, because they're bought and controlled. So don't come on BWTM Universe and come and tell me nonsense about what was said at another network which is bought and paid for. Please don't. You should know by now. That's nonsense. Bob Silence says, Fury will have to fight Wilder if he wants to fight in this country. Nah, Brooke was thrown under the bus with Eddie. All right, bro. How much do these fights actually get from these multi-million-pound fights? They must have taxed a ridiculous amount and go home with nowhere near its worth. I heard a story, rumored, don't know how true, but I remember when who was that guy? British fighter got shipped out to fight Alexander for a world title fight, Lee Purdy. And I heard at that time there was a deal that was set with Golden Boy and Matchroom fighters. So there was a percentage that was getting taken out of their purse, and Golden Boy was getting a percentage up. They were getting a percentage from Golden Boy for putting fighters out. A lot of these fighters are feeders or patsies. They play the role of a patsy. Remember I talked about the role of the patsy. This is not disrespectful to fighters. This is just understand this A side, B side thing more. The role of the patsy is the guy that is going out there to get beat, to get smashed, to get who's meant to lay down. Whether voluntary or involuntary, they have to lay down to make the other guy look good. That's what you call a patsy. And there's a string of these patsies that are there on a conveyor belt that will constantly be fed to American fighters who are far more skilled and have far more ability. Now we got this fight come up with Liam Smith and isn't it Liam Smith? Not Liam Smith. What's his name? I can see the guy's face now. But he's going to be fighting Andrade soon. Andrade's far more skilled. This guy's got skill. This guy's got aggression. I don't know if he's got the skill set to beat Andrade. Let's see what's getting said here. Aaron said the contract is done and not a problem. I understand it's a promoter saying it, but there's some loophole. I genuinely believe Joshua happens, mate. Too much money, yeah? Too much money, yeah? But what about the legal implications? How much money is there if Fury breaks contract with Wilder? That's what you should be asking yourself the question. I think this could hold up AJ versus Fury, like what happened when Tyson tried to size up Lennox Lewis twice. It cost him the WBC, which is why Vander versus Tyson was only for the WBA. I'm sure Khan never had a promoter with Eddie or Frank for that fight. Right, he got thrown under the bus. End of conversation. That's it. Got thrown. There was no business in fighting Canelo whatsoever. He was barely a welterweight. It wasn't advisable. What's cooking, Ingram? Well, you'll have to rewind the tape for the video to hear what I've recently been told. Wilder doesn't want Fury next. Easy to tell. Legal gag excuse holds no merit because he mentioned other opponents that he wants to fight next, which would work against him in a legal case. Really? So now you're now a legal professional. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. Apparently, the reason Tyson is saying he wanted the Wilder fight is because he wanted Wilder and Caballero out of the way last year so he could finish the 2 fights left with Arum and ESPN. Okay. Liam Williams, that's it. Seems good. Seems a tough, strong, rugged type of guy. He's never fought a guy of the class of Andrade. Yeah, some federal of our British fighters been selling their belts to the highest bidder. That's what's been going on. That's what's been going on. Evening, my friend. Arum probably realizes Tyson wants out, and Arum is like, no. He wants Joshua fight out of Josh Tyson. That's it. They know that Tyson is like a ticking time bomb. You just don't know what he's going to do next. Is he going to retire next? Remember, he had that situation with Fury and Klitschko too, and Fury wasn't happy about that, and somehow or the other he got himself out of that situation. Are we look at another deadlock situation? We've had deadlock situation with Fury before. We had deadlock situation with Fury with Hennessy, and he had to pay out of court. It's not the first time, and we still got the situation still surrounding Fury and the beef and the farmer, and I think that those people were still chasing him. In the UK, UCAD was still chasing Fury. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff still going on, but it's not good. Usyk's promoter doesn't think Fury Joshua is going to happen. I'm not sure if you've seen his IFL interview. Don't need to, but it's all coming out. Yeah, it's all coming out. Listen to Derek Chisora. Listen to Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora even was saying he don't see Fury Joshua happen, and that the third fight of Fury of Wilder is more likely to happen. Listen to him. Exactly. Ingram made his own choice with his own team. You sit there and believe that. You sit there and believe that. His own team want money, and that Canelo fight was big money. That's what it says to me. Liam Williams, Callum Smith, Liam Smith, Luke Campbell, Gavin Reeves, Brian Rose, fill in the blank. I'm going to shock the world. Yeah, yeah. You know the transcript now. Daring to be great. You know it. You know it. Any thoughts on a BBC special, Kinahan's influence on boxing? Any truth in it? Listen, boxing is a corrupt sport. We know it's corrupt. The only people that are shocked about what's been said in this are the people that believe that boxing is not a corrupt sport. Yeah, that's the only people who would be shocked about it. Is Kinahan good for boxing? Not good for boxing? I don't know. And frankly, it's not my business. There are a lot of people that have said conflicting reports. Some people said he's done good for boxing. He's given people the opportunity. I know for a fact It's not just in boxing, in life. There are people that are in positions of power that will turn a blind eye, that will turn their head and ignore you because they don't think you've got anything to offer them. And there's somebody else that comes along and says, you know what? I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to give you a chance. That is believable. And when a person starts to get too much power and too much influence, the other people around don't like it. And you know how the system works. They try and shut a person down and assassinate their character. This happens. It's not the first time. When Audley Harrison decided to become his own promoter and decide to self-promote, that put certain people in the promotional business out of pocket because they wanted a percentage from Audley. And Audley said, no, I'm not allowing you to have a percentage. I'm going to do my own thing. So they tried to sabotage Audley, doing all the best that they could. Understand this. History always repeats itself. Adam said on 50% from Tyson, and remember Warren is involved. It's obviously Tyson wanted 2 fights out of the way because he knows paying 2 people a percentage from a Joshua fight is huge. Yeah, but what about the legal ramifications, my friend? You're still not addressing the legal ramifications for taking a Joshua fight. What are the legal ramifications? How much of a case has Wilder got against Fury? If it's such a case, then why did he fight in December? Aaron said he's at a loss with Tyson Fury. He's at a loss with Tyson Fury. So does he want to make more loss with Tyson Fury? With a guy who can't fight? Really? I don't know. The 5 mob families were and always have been involved in boxing. Hell, Bob Arum was linked to the mob. Listen, do I care? Not interested. All I care is that we say good fights, fair judging, fair refereeing, and fighters making what they are worth. That's kind of what I care about. The rest is none of my goddamn business. Tyson's real problem is the 2-fight deal left with Arum at ESPN rather than the Wilder contract. That's why Arum is pushing for Fury Joshua. Fury wants the Joshua fight with only MTK to pay. Yes, Adam, can you still explain to me the Wilder contract that is supposedly expired? If you're guilty of breach of contract, then you go on with the fight, man. Who knows? That could equal jail time. Wilder's legal position isn't a threat to the fight, in my opinion. He doesn't even want Fury next. That's your opinion, of course. But Fury saying that his activity is bad preparation for AJ is more plausible reason for the fight to fall apart. Right, sure. Wasn't Fury inactive when he fought Derek Chisora the second time? He was inactive and fought for a while. I remember that. And he fought him. And isn't AJ just a pumped up weightlifter? Who just pumped up weightlifter? Which you don't need to be in that, you know, you don't have to do that much training to fight AJ if he's a pumped up weightlifter, like everyone says in a dosser. You don't need to do that. Tyson would lose any money to Wilder, but he would lose money by breaking the contract with Arum. Arum is Fury's real headache. Fury will be pissed off inside knowing he has to pay Arum one way or another. You still talk about Arum, man. Listen. Fed up hearing the waft from Eddie, etc. I'm more excited about for Canelo Billy Joe Saunders right now. Really hope it happens, though. Okay, I'm going to close it by saying this. There are people in here still ignoring Deontay Wilder and still ignoring that contract situation. I don't give a damn about Arum. I don't give a damn about Hearn. I don't give a damn about Warren. What I care about is this contract with Wilder. What's been said at arbitration, and let's get that cleared up before we talk about Fury versus Joshua, because clearly that's what's holding everything up. Nobody wants to mention that. Nobody wants to talk about it. They still talk about Fury and Wilder. The big issue in the room has always been Deontay Wilder, and no amount of character assassination or going to Bob Arum. We talked about Bob Arum earlier on anyway. Bob Arum's at a loss with Tyson Fury. He's not gaining, he's at a loss. He's even said himself as a promoter. If Fury really is in breach of contract, they could stop him fighting, freeze earnings until he honors the contract, or take a bite out of his ass for any Fury fights. There we go, right there. That's it right there. There's more money on the table right now for Fury Joshua, even during COVID times, than they would make in the UK. Yeah? But again, can you answer me one question? How much is Fury going to get sued for fighting Joshua when he breaks a contract with Wilder? How much? And is it worth that? That's what I want to know. How much power does Wilder really hold? You're talking about everything around apart from the elephant in the room, like typical British media. You're not facing the facts. There's a serious issue here with Wilder. There's a serious issue there. And you're ignoring the facts that something's not right. And it's called Deontay Wilder, and it's called that contract that has expired. And you talk about Arum, and you talk about Hearn, and you talk about Warren. You're still not talking about the big cheese, which is Al Heyman. Who's bigger than all three of them put together? Whatever goods Wilder has on Fury must be huge, because it's holding every other fight for Fury. That's what I'm saying. If Fury Joshua doesn't happen, will Usyk be tied up with Joyce? That's the question. And I just wonder if they damn well knew that Joshua Fury wasn't going to happen, and they tried to put Usyk down the route with Joyce to distract Usyk and hope that Usyk gets beat up by Joyce, and they go for some interim bullshit while this Joshua and Fury thing plays out, because they knew that Usyk was next in line for Joshua. But we've seen the BS played before. When they signed Luis Ortiz, what happened when they signed Luis Ortiz? They had Luis Ortiz, we get the best promoter in the world. And what did he do? He went and got Luis Ortiz fighting out in Monaco with flipping Malik Scott and flipping Dave Allen. Is that what the best promoter in the world does? Just slid him away from fighting Anthony Joshua. And the way Usyk's another nuisance, he doesn't bring money in, just like Ortiz doesn't bring money in. Usyk doesn't bring any money in unless you're fighting. Listen, Usyk don't bring money in, so just swipe him to one side against Joe Joyce and let them two beat the crap out of one another. And while that's going on, just a nice distraction, give him an interim WBO belt that doesn't really mean anything. I wonder, because that's the sort of tricks and sort of snide stuff they've done before. We don't know how much power Wilder has. The facts are we don't know. Arum, Hearn, and everyone is saying the contract is done. Wilder has already listed opponents. Why do people keep going on about this damn listing opponents? If you ask me a question, I'm in a legal battle with you. Your name is John Smith, and I've got a legal battle with you. And you're the guy that I want to fight. And I've got legal battle with you. And I hold the keys to you. I hold the keys to you. You can't do a damn thing without my say-so. Why do I need to talk about you? I don't need to talk about you. I talk about everybody else. Yeah, I'd like to fight Andy Ruiz. But the Andy Ruiz fight was always a fight that was talked about. They're both PBC fighters. One. Two, I think they're both PBC fighters. Two, when Joshua got beat by Ruiz, Wilder was WBC champion. That fight was always going to get made. So I don't know why people are talking about, Wilder said, yeah, why? Wilder was asked the question. He just answered the question. That does not mean that the contract, that we're sidestepping. Let's go back to the point. How much money is Wilder entitled to if Fury decides to pursue the Joshua fight? Then, if we can find out how much that is, then we can have a better indication as to why Fury has not fought yet. If Joyce walks through Usyk and makes him hump the canvas, then calls out AJ and Fury, those boys will have a problem. Oh, they'll have a problem, all right. Wilder's got to get over the Fury defeat psychologically, and going into rematch without tune-ups isn't the best route. Wouldn't that be bad management like Hearn? Mate, I'd be more concerned about Tyson Fury's state at the moment than Deontay Wilder. That guy doesn't seem to be out of shape at all. Usyk's manager said yesterday, when Fury Joshua happens, the belt will be dropped. If Usyk beats Joyce, the interim belt will be upgraded to full champion. Let's hope that does happen. Mr. Boxing Stay, yes, salute to you, brother. Always good to see you in the room. Yes, Wilder and Ruiz are both under Al Heyman. There we go. Getting boring now. If Fury has to legally fight Wilder again, then it's own fault for being so inactive. He did this with Vlad, beat him, and didn't fancy a rematch. There we go. Other than Al Heyman being involved, what else gives you the belief that Wilder has a case and will be owed money? What gives me the... Bloody hell. We are being told the contract is done. You're being told the contract's been done. You were being told that. I'm being told the contract isn't being done. I've been told there's a huge problem. And I read out what the problem was beforehand. So I don't know where you're coming with your information. I don't know Adam Beanie Smith or whoever the hell you are. I don't know where you're coming with information. You just seem to be spiraling, just repeating the same BS propaganda over and over again. If Fury was meant to fight and he could have knocked it on the head, why did he not fight Caballero? Why is Aaron coming out saying Fury's he's making losses on Tyson Fury? Why is the fight not being made? Why is the fight not being signed? With the legal impasse, we're likely to see Ingram vs GG with the Fury Joshua until it gets ironed out. We've heard like 2 months of this big news coming soon. It's obviously not. They are all talking rubbish. Of course they're talking rubbish. Talking absolute rubbish. And you're just seeing the British media meltdown. Yeah? Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. I don't think it's happening anyway. Not happening. Derek Chisora's come out and tried to tell you. Usyk's manager's come out and told you. I've come out today and just revealed the source talking about what the hell's going on behind closed doors. And why you say, Mr. Bean Adam Smith, it proves to me that you know nothing about Al Heyman. You don't talk about Al Heyman as if he's just some guy. You want to talk about Al Heyman as a serious threat here. He's a serious problem. I dropped by, let me see this here. Brother, good to see you in the room. I dropped by the live to show my support, bro. I'm about to watch your Parker and Lee video. Curious to hear your thoughts on the man. Thank you very much, brother. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the support, brother. Thank you for the support. I only try and talk what I believe in. The British media, for the most part, is a cesspit of absolute garbage, propaganda, and repeating absolute nonsense and rubbish. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I'm going to say to my US brothers over there, we're not all the same. Don't tar us all with the same brush. We're not all the same. We are not all the same, my American brothers. We are not. And a lot of the crap that's said in the UK, I can't stand for it. And I'm speaking out on it. And because I speak out on it, I'm not the popular guy. I'm not here to be popular. If I was here to be popular, I would set the show and set BWT up in a whole totally different way. Why do I want to be popular among a bunch of people that don't even like me and will never care for me and will never do anything to help me? Why the hell would I do that? Screw that. I just tell the truth. And I don't care. I know I'm not liked for what I say, but at least I'm trying to tell you my truth in the matter. I'm not going to sit down here and garble on and repeat garbage that the British media put out there. Not going to do it. For what reason? Not pay for it. My source tells me the fight happens. The only holdup is Saudi or Dubai. If fans are allowed in Dubai, alcohol is allowed. Saudi isn't. They want to rinse every penny out of this fight. Yeah? And Wilder wants to rinse every penny out of Fury and get him in the ring again. When Derek Shaw speaks, we have to listen. Like when he said, who's the donkey? Usyk's manager says they won 93% for the Joyce purse. LOL, they don't fancy Joyce fight. No, they don't. They shouldn't fancy the Joyce fight because they know what's coming. Usyk can run, but he can't hide from Joyce. I do know about Al, bro. He's the man, but I genuinely believe Wilder is fucked when it comes to him actually getting a result from this. Really? You keep believing that, my brother. You keep on believing that. And you keep on believing it. And you keep hanging on to Joshua versus Fury. Keep believing that. These are the same people that listen. Matchroom should be hung and quartered, right? These are the same people that brought you. Well, you know, Chili Thinker wants Wilder to fight Joshua now. That's absolute crazy. I mean, we wouldn't look to fight Wilder until 2021. So according to the Matchroom Supremo, 2021 is when, this year is when they wanted Wilder to fight Joshua. 2021. So if you want to know about that $100 million fight that we should have originally seen between Wilder and Joshua, they're to blame. So I don't want to hear nothing from them people. Nothing. And they continue to destroy boxing. Oh no, they're doing a great job for boxing. Are they? Not for the UK, they're not. What is so fantastic about what they're doing? What they send a whole heap of fighters who are force ripe fighters, not ready, put in world title fights and use as feeders. The majority of British fighters have been used as patsies or feeders. Even their best fighter, their cash cows, have been fed to slaughter. Anthony Joshua should not be a beaten fighter now. He should never have got beat by Andy Ruiz because he had no business fighting Andy Ruiz. No business fighting Andy Ruiz. Too dangerous a fight. Kell Brook should never be fighting Golovkin. Should be a pay-per-view star. Man was selling out in Sheffield. Yet fights with Vargas fell through. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Much both of you. I appreciate the contact. Thank you very much, brother. Good to know you're watching. On a side note, alcohol is ironically an Arabic word. Alcohol. Yes. Interesting. So, listen, I might not be everyone's cup of tea. I'm not here to be people's cup of tea. I'm not an entertainer. Okay? There's a difference between an artist and an entertainer. An entertainer is out there to entertain and say what he wants to say to make people grasp and yes, I'm not about that. I'm about trying to get as much truth out there as possible, or at least make people think and wonder, But to keep repeating this tripe, and there's something legal going on. And if let's put it this way, you've got Bob Arum, you've got Frank Warren. Are you telling me these two big promoters can't put the money together to kind of dismiss Wilder in court? If Wilder is that crazy guy, then the court should just gone, along your way, Wilder. Hey, you haven't got something tangible to talk about. But clearly, there's something tangible that's still got this man sitting back in his sofa like a king. Something's not right, people. I keep telling you, something's not right. Fury agreed the third fight last year with Wilder, but Arum, and you still talk about Arum and ESPN, couldn't come up with the bread. Arum, Heyman is the Don, but Arum is also clued up. Believes it ran out. We all know soon, bro. 2 weeks. Okay, we'll soon know. But all I'm saying, those people that thought Wilder was crazy, all those people, the Johnny Nelsons, all those people that said Wilder was crazy, yeah? Is he still crazy? And the contract was expired. Well, if a contract's expired, what's the holdup? The contract's expired. What's the holdup? Why doesn't one of these media outlets ask the question? The contract expired. What's the holdup? Eddie, the contract expired. What's the holdup? Frank, the contract expired. What's the holdup? What's the holdup? Simple question. What's the holdup? Or the question is, if Deontay Wilder contract is still active, what would be the ramifications of a Joshua versus Fury fight, and how much would Fury be sued for if he went ahead with this fight and not on his third fight with Wilder? Those would be some interesting questions to ask. I don't know if they've been asked, but there would be some interesting questions to ask. I don't want to hear about Fury versus Joshua. Sounds like a smokescreen to me. The only other thing I'm thinking that could be the case is this. Is that, like I said before, they're waiting for the clock to tick down so that contract actually does expire, so then they could make this fight happen. But from the view of things, Fury being over 320 pounds, being completely overweight, not in the gym, does not sound to me like a guy who's going to be fighting in 6 to 8 weeks' time. And why would you get yourself into such a state physically if you knew you had the biggest fight of your career coming up? It just wouldn't. So to me, it don't make sense, boxing fans. We'll soon find out. And I'm happy to be proven wrong in this. But I don't trust the British media. In fact, I don't trust much media. Because a lot of them are paid for and bought and controlled. And because I'm not controlled, I'm not liked. And I don't care. Thank you all so much for watching BWTM Sports. Adam, you're wrong. The reason Wilder Fury was called off because both Fox and ESPN agreed to not host a fight during the college football championship season. Yeah, and I heard that as well from Americans saying that there's no way they could put that fight with the college season going on. Obviously, the fight won't happen if the contract is valid. No one is daft enough to think it would. So there. The fight has not happened yet. Fury's not fought since he defended the title, since he won the title of Wilder. To me, there is a contract in place. We need to start admitting it, accepting the elephant in the room, which is Deontay Wilder. Stop calling this man crazy. And maybe, just maybe, like I said, there may be more to this contract and this expired contract than meets the eye. There were other stories I heard. I don't know how true they are, but there was evidence regarding blood samples. I don't know how true that is. There was evidence about the gloves. I don't know how true that is. And these things were brought together in the court as well. I don't know how true that is. But if it's as factual as that contract, it's not good. It's not good. I would love to know what all I've heard is that the court of arbitration is in Deontay Wilder's favor. That's all I heard. So go back and check the top of the video, which is where I got my information from my source. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. No doubt this video is going to get dislikes. I couldn't care less. And for those people that are loving it, continue to be in the comment section. Please, in the comment section, if you can give me information about the arbitration, if you give me information about that, the court of arbitration, please, if you can give me information on how much Deontay Wilder is set to win or to gain from Fury making the next move. But just to close on something that comes to mind, Vladimir Klitschko had a rematch contract clause with Tyson Fury. Fury didn't want that rematch and found a way to get himself out of that rematch. Deontay Wilder could have a deadlock on Tyson Fury, and that deadlock could be Tyson Fury has to come and see me before he fights anybody else in his career. And if that deadlock is in place, Fury ain't fighting nobody. And no YouTuber, no promoter, no manager can do anything about that. And if that was the case and he was deadlocked, not good. So what was Aaron talking about, saying Wilder didn't want to fight? Disgraceful public manipulation. Yeah, of course. Of course. These people are liars, aren't they? Blatant liars. They've got a lie in there to cover their own backs. But it's all going to come out eventually. And when it does come out, it's not going to look good for boxing. Really isn't. Really isn't. Right, I'm out of here. It's much longer than I thought it would be. Thank you all for watching. Dan the Man, it's always a pleasure to have you in the room. BG London, thank you so much. Gonguja, Adam Smith, Adam Beanie Smith, thank you in the room. For being in the room. Cameron, thank you for being in the room. Shu H1 in the room. Thank you for you. G. Gillot, yep, I'm fed up of hearing about Matchroom myself. Thank you for being in the room. Bob Sanders, Lakvinder Singh, thank you all for being in the room as always. Mitchell Blazan, thank you, brother, for being in the room. And Charles Miller, thank you all so much for being in the room. This is a wrap for BWTM Sports. I hope soon I'm either proven completely wrong about this whole Wilder, Joshua, Fury scenario, or the wheels completely fall off of this and the truth comes out. Either way, it's getting to that time.